Composing Gloves here, and today we are going to be talking about, you guessed it, the piano roll and MIDI music theory. So in written music, you have this thing called a staff. A staff is where it's used to separate your time. It's used to write down notes, and it's used to write down rest. So where notes go, where notes don't go, and it represents time as it passes. And so here I've got a MIDI piano roll, and FL has a fabulous one. In order to get to it, you just click piano roll, and then bang, you're in the piano roll. Now this isn't a tonal instrument, so let me really quick add a tonal instrument and turn the volume down. Okay, so here I've got a piano roll, and it's pretty darn intuitive. The first time I opened it, I was used to writing sheet music, and I was used to dealing with the staff, and the staff doesn't even exist here. And it's so fundamental. Like, look, I'll really quick show you. So this is the staff. These lines, and all these little markers and everything all over it represent time and notes and staffs. And so you could say, I want this pitch for this long at this moment, this time, and this bar. But on the here, it's a grid. And if you want like higher notes or lower notes, you have to do weird crap. Like you write out notes. Whoops, that's not the right one. You write out like notes like lower or higher via that. And sometimes if notes are too high, you change this symbol to like make them lower or higher. It's this really weird system. In many ways, the piano roll is superior as far as how simple it is. It's simply, here are the low notes, and they're labeled. You have C0, that's the lowest note you can have. And then you have high note at B10, that's the highest note you can have, and everything in between. So the cool thing about what both these programs can do is they can take a MIDI file and convert it into either the staff or the piano roll, because a staff uses the data from a piano roll, but it displays it differently. So let's really quick talk about what the deal is with this piano roll, because I feel like I've gotten a little bit off topic. So as an idea, I just want to cover the idea of the piano roll. As an idea, this is where we're going to put down our notes. So we can write out notes, and we can put them down. So we can write that out. Where there are no notes represented, it is assumed there is nothing there, but it still goes through that. So that gives us a special clue. This represents time. We have a timeline up here. So if we have notes right here, it's like here, all this space right here, and we put another note, it doesn't just play this note and then skip to that note. There's a space here. So it's assumed that a rest has been written there. This, to me, when I started, was super intuitive. Like, everyone that picks this up just assumes that's what's going to happen. But no one really understands. Like, I guess now they will. I mean, I'm sure some people have. But it puts the rest there for you. So when there's no notes, you simply don't write a note there. And bang, it's going to play it. So we have our song, right? We have an idea. We're sitting there, we're thinking, geez, I just thought of this great piano idea that's been done 1,000 times using Nexus, and I want to make my own. Oh man, I got to write this idea down because it's so not original. I got to write it down because I'm going to be a great famous producer that's completely unoriginal. So you're like, all right, so you come in to your piano roll and you say, let's say a piano roll didn't even exist yet. So you say, I need to come up with some way to notate this. I need to come up with some way to do this. So I guess it is pretty original. You must be the first one to do this. So you say, what if I, instead of doing this weird written music thing that goes on over there, what if I made like a grid of time? And what if, as I went through time, I set like a rate. So if I push play, it'll play through at a rate. And this rate's consistent. Like, it goes through at a specific rate. And as it goes through at this rate, I will get, things get really weird with time stretching algorithms and stuff. But as it goes through at this rate, I will be able to play notes for a specific duration. Like, I know that if I play, so let's go down to like 60 beats per minute. We'll talk about this a little bit later. But I know that if I have it go through so let's say first you're like, okay, let's back up a little bit. First, I need a grid of time. So you graph out this grid, and what you do is you make these lines. You make a big line, and you say, here's time. That's time. Now I need to find a way to make time be represented by some amount. So you're like, okay, from 1 to 2, I'm going to say that's going to be 4 seconds. And you're like, how fast does my thing need to move through here for that to be 4 seconds? And so you figure that out. You do a little bit of math. You crunch the numbers. You figure it out. And then you're like, all right, now if I want a note that's going to be half a second on this, I need a note that's this long. Or let's back up. So this is 4 seconds, right? Let's say I want a note that's 2 seconds long. Well, I just need a note that's half that distance. So bang, half the distance covered. My piano roll is now grooving. Now let's say I want a note that's half that. So you just half it and you half it again. And all of a sudden you're like, hey, I can represent time. And then you say, well, if I graph something higher or lower, that will represent the pitch. That will represent how many oscillations per second are happening. So I say if I put something lower, it's gonna be a lower note. If I put something higher, it's gonna be a higher note. And this actually, you could do some really kind of abstract things with the piano roll and the ways that people have used this tool and unconventionally. But in music theory land, that's the essential idea. That is the role of the piano roll, pun intended. And so it fulfills this thing that we can now write notes and represent notes and no notes, and we can represent time and how fast that time. Let's say we want this to speed up, but we only have so long. So what we could do is we could just speed up the rate at which how fast we're moving through this line. And so now this represents a shorter amount of time. If we slow this rate, so here it is. But if we slow it down, it takes a really long time to get through the exact same amount of time. So this is called tempo, by the way, and we'll talk about tempo a little bit later. But it's a really interesting kind of concept on how we're going to write this. It's going to influence different genres because certain rhythms will ride out especially groovy at particular tempos. It's the reason why some genres like dance or dubstep are known for being like 128 or 142. Drum and bass is 172, 155, upwards like 200 and something crazy. There's speed metal. There's things like hip hop, which is usually in the 80. Sometimes it ventures into the 110 beats per minute range. Not very common. Usually it's around like 90 to like 75, and from 75 down is usually like what is that genre called? I drew a blank. But there are genres down there at 75. I'm thinking about music pretty hard right now. So anyways, that's the idea of the piano roll. Now, if you have any questions about this, let me know. We're gonna get more in detail with what's going on here. Subscribe and have a blessed day. Composing Gloves here. And this is the first video in Sound and Synth Basics. I'm super excited about this series. I hope you're excited. If you don't know anything about sound, if this is your first shot, then this is the series for you. I'm going to teach it. I've thought about this. I want a real solid series because as I get into more advanced things, I need people to understand the basics like how I know that I understand them. So I've thought a lot about the